Bless you, saints. I just wanted to make you aware, for those of you that don't know, since January 15, 2022, there was a giant underwater volcano that erupted, and it produced a tsunami in Tonga. There was 4-foot waves that struck the Pacific coast, and this is what it looked like from an aerial shot. It was pretty impressive. The waves between 1 and 4 feet were reported from California to Alaska Saturday after a tsunami advisory was issued because of a volcanic eruption in the South Pacific. The advisory was issued for Hawaii and the U.S. Pacific coast, including California, Oregon, Washington, and parts of Alaska, early Saturday morning after the undersea volcano. Undersea, folks. The undersea volcano erupted near the island nation of Tonga. A wave of 4.3 feet was reported in Port St. Lucie, California, according to the National Weather Service. And large waves were also reported in King Cove, Alaska, La Push, Washington, and several other locations. 2 people were transported to the hospital after being swept into the water Saturday afternoon at San Gregorio State Beach, according to the local fire officials. One was taken by a helicopter. And so if you want to go to this website, endtimeheadlines.org, they've got a couple of videos on there. And again, the tsunami struck the Tonga largest island, Tonga Tapu, and reportedly sent waves flooded into the capital after an underwater volcano in the South Pacific exploded in a violent eruption on Saturday, sending a cloud of ash and gas steam into the air. Satellite imagery shows a massive ash cloud and shock waves spreading from the eruption. That's what we were looking at earlier. A tsunami warning has been issued for the islands of Tonga, and tsunami advisories were also issued for as far as New Zealand, North Island. This is pretty, I would say, a biblical size event, folks. Waves crossed the shoreline of Tonga's capital. And so, and again, you can go see the little videos here. For copyright reasons, I'm not playing them for you, but they were evacuated in Tonga's King Tupoi was evacuated from the royal palace after the tsunami flooded the capital, RNZ reported, citing local media reports that a convoy of police and troops rushed the monarch to a villa at Mataki-Ewa. And so, folks, this is pretty significant. Tonga's capital lies just 65 kilometers north of the volcano on the country's main island of Tonga Tapu. And so one of the residents reported that the eruption hit as her family was preparing for dinner, and her younger brother thought bombs were exploding nearby. And my first instinct, quotes, my first instinct was to take cover under the table. I grabbed my little sister and screamed at my parents and others in the house to do the same, end of quotes. And so New Zealand's news site, stuff.co.nz, quoted her as saying. There's another article about this, folks. And this was posted on the 16th. And so, again, we just witnessed one of the most catastrophic disasters in modern history that should be a major wake-up call. And the eruption sent 3-mile-wide mushroom cloud of red-hot ash. 3-mile wide, folks, of hot ash, steam, and gas 12 miles into the air. To put that into perspective, the entire island of Manhattan is only 2.3 miles wide. This eruption was so massive that it actually created an entirely new island. This eruption created a new island, folks, and the sonic boom from that blast could be heard 6,000 miles away in Alaska. This is a massive event. that took place. Satellite images showed the spectacular eruption that took place on Saturday evening with a huge plume of ash, steam, and gas. A sonic boom could be heard as far away as Alaska. In Tonga, it triggered tsunami waves that crashed the shore and sent people rushing to higher ground. One of the most remarkable things about this disaster is the incredible amount of volcanic lightning that it produced. It is being reported that there were approximately 200,000 lightning events during the first hour, just the first hour of the eruption alone. Just think about that. We are talking about an event that truly belongs in the history books. Unfortunately, once it became clear that the tsunami waves that were going to hit the West Coast would not be that serious, the corporate media largely began to downgrade this story. But needless to say, this is probably the biggest event to ever hit the nation of Tonga. When the tsunami arrived, many residents of Tonga had no warning at all. One Tonga resident, as I mentioned earlier, was with her family and it hit when she was having dinner. Tafa said that suddenly water started filling her home as she was having dinner. Fortunately, for those living in the west coast of the United States, the tsunami waves were not very high by the time they traveled all the way across the Pacific Ocean from Tonga. In fact, the largest wave that was reported on the west coast was about 4.3 feet tall. A wave of 4.3 feet was reported in Port St. Louis, California, according to the National Weather Service. And so I just wanted to bring this to you because this was a major event that I don't think is being reported and very largely. And so we need to be in prayer. We need to be praying for these folks that were affected and their families, and to understand. Look at, like it says here, at this moment it is absolutely covered in volcanic ash, and the tsunami has caused immense devastation. But we won't know the full extent of the catastrophe for some time because phone and internet links to the country have been severed. The tsunami hit Tonga, remained largely uncontactable on Sunday, with telephone and internet links severed, leaving relatives in faraway New Zealand praying for their families on the Pacific Islands as casualty reports had yet to come through. This was reported by Michael Snyder. And so, and the most important news. But just wanted to bring you this to let you know what's going on, and to, again, to be in prayer and interceding and standing in the gap, and be before the Lord with a meek heart, with a humble heart, and seeking for His mercy. For judgments are happening all over, folks. In the mighty name of Jesus, I bless you. Take care. Till soon again, Lord willing.